We begin the day with questions about the unity of Canada. Canada's Prime Minister is pushing back on reports that U.S. officials have held talks with groups in favor of an independent province of Alberta, basically breaking away from Canada. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he expects Washington to respect Canada's sovereignty. Alberta is a province in Western Canada about the size of Texas. It has rich oil deposits, and it accounts for about 84% of Canada's crude oil production. Now, Carney's comments come as separatist groups in Alberta ramp up efforts to force a provincial referendum on leaving Canada. Now, that's a move that has reignited a political trio of tensions between the national government, the conservative leadership in Alberta, and the United States. Now, support for independence does not enjoy the support of a majority of Albertans, but it's gained visibility amid frustration over federal energy policy and long-running disputes over oil and gas development. Carney says U.S. President Trump has not raised Alberta's status in their direct conversations, but the Prime Minister warned that foreign involvement in Canada's internal affairs is unacceptable.
I would expect the U.S. administration to respect Canadian sovereignty. I'm always clear in my conversation with President Trump to that effect, and then move on to what we can do together. I don't have a running commentary on everything the administration does. I stand by what I just said about respecting our sovereignty, our expectations of the U.S. administration, and the clarity with which I've always expressed that directly to the President.
Well, I'm joined now by journalist Lucy van Oldenbarneveld. She spent many years with the CBC, and we are happy to have her with us tonight right here on DW. Lucy, it's good to have you on the program.
Hi, Red.
Before we talk about a separatist movement in Alberta, can you give us a diagnosis of the entire country tonight? How intact and healthy is Canadian unity right now?
Well, it's a great place to start because last year, around this time, there were some questions about how unified the country was. It looked like we were heading towards a federal national government. But then after Trump was elected and he started talking about the 51st state and the governor of Canada instead of the prime minister, Canadians really started to get fed up with this kind of talk, and they re-elected a Liberal government. So Mark Carney became the prime minister. So I would say there is a Team Canada vibe in this country right now. It's sort of like we're trying to stick together against U.S. threats.
How do you explain then what is going on in Alberta?
Yeah, Alberta's always been a bit of an outlier. You described it earlier as the size of Texas, but the attitude is also very much like Texas. Very rich in oil reserves, a lot of cattle ranches, forestry. It's also a spectacularly beautiful province, but they've always felt they've always had some grievances against the federal government. They felt taxes are too high. They want to produce oil and reap the rewards of that to the fullest extent that that's possible. So they chafe against any climate change policies that may come from the federal government. They want to go it alone. And so when the rhetoric around the 51st state, or even now this movement about establishing Alberta as its own country, there seems to be a bit more momentum for that right now. And they also have a premier who is, while not actively courting them, also not actively discouraging them either.
And I understand the premier of the province of British Columbia has accused the separatists who reportedly went to Washington to talk about independence. He's accused them of committing treason. I mean, to me, that is a sign that Canadians are taking this seriously. I mean, you don't call your compatriot, accuse him of being treasonous for nothing.
Yeah. So British Columbia is the province right next door to Alberta. And Premier David Eby yesterday, you could see the emotion in him when he was talking about this. He feels very strongly that Albertans, and he said these aren't even Albertans, who go to Washington to actively work with a foreign country to break up the country of Canada is a treasonous act. And he has not been criticized for that comment so far across the country. The premiers are meeting right now in Ottawa. That's sort of why they're all together. But he was visibly angry when he said that, because it does feel as though some representatives of the province are going down to Washington to say, hey, can you help us secede from Canada, thus breaking up the country. So he's pretty ticked off, as are a lot of Canadians with this kind of rhetoric.
I mean, I can see how people would accuse these separatists or these Albertans of kind of courting trouble by going south of the border. Let me ask you about the politics south of the border, especially the man named Donald Trump. I mean, how are they affecting the debate about independence?
Well, the Treasury Secretary, so a very senior leader in the Trump administration, was heard on a podcast earlier this week saying Alberta would be a natural partner. So let's keep the conversation going. I mean, this is a pretty significant conversation to be talking about so openly, and as though it is a real possibility. And it also dovetails with some of the language that we see coming out of the Oval Office from Donald Trump himself when he talks about the 51st state, when he talks about wanting to take over Canada and having access to all of our resources. So it is a dangerous conversation to start having. And Mark Carney, our Prime Minister, wants to shut that down and remind Donald Trump that this is a sovereign nation and don't come sniffing around here, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that the Prime Minister reacted to the reports of the talks by saying that he expects the U.S. to respect Canadian sovereignty. I mean, the fact that he had to utter those words in public, I mean, that really it tells us the story that speaks to the depths of which relations between Washington and Ottawa have fallen. I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah. Oh, it's an unprecedented time. The world has been watching as Donald Trump set his sights on Greenland, but he's also been taunting Canada quite a bit. Like right as at his inauguration last year, he was saying Canada's the 51st state and the Prime Minister is actually the governor. So this is an ongoing thing for him, and it is unnerving. Because they have been traditionally our biggest trading partner, very good. We have had good relationships with the United States, but like relationships with many other countries around the world, the United States is not who it used to be. And relationships are changing, but because we are the closest neighbor, it's all a little unsettling. But Canadians are fierce. Canadians are not willing to just roll over and accept this kind of language.
Did you ever think, though, Lucy, that you would see relations be this way? I mean, I grew up in the United States, and I remember thinking of Canadians as just being the brothers who lived up north. I mean, almost no difference. And I know from Canadians that the feeling was mutual, but that's not what we hear now at all. Did you ever think you would see this animosity?
No, not at all. It is a time where relationships between the United States and various other countries are changing dramatically. There used to be this multilateralist, this cooperative spirit that came from the United States. Since post-World War II, we have seen the United States as our big brother, but now we just see them as a big bully. And they're erratic. There's always chaos surrounding what comes out of the president's mouth or what he tweets late at night. Okay. And so it is hard to have a predictable relationship.
Well, Lucy, it's been great talking with you. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and please come back again.
You bet. Thanks. Good to talk to you.